I think the major issue before us with regard to a change in U.S.-Cuba policy is twofold. One, we can't have a moron in the White House, and we're not going to, in my view. 2 times in a row would probably be bankrupting. And second, it's not on anyone's attention. It's not in anyone's attention. I have to disagree with Dimitri because, respectfully, because I've heard George Shultz, I've heard Colin Powell, I've heard indeed mostly every Republican I know of note say our Cuba policy is dumber than mud, or words to that effect. And the fact that Nixon said it in 93 or 94 or whatever is not as President of the United States. So it becomes a very different thing. I watched my boss, Colin Powell, become co-chairman and really the chairman of the U.S.-Cuba Commission, and essentially had to sit in a congressional hearing and listen to a more right-wing Cuban American, if you will, regale me or criticize me for having said that Powell said something that he didn't say, because Powell said what he said in public, and he did. He did. He's the one responsible for these travel restrictions. He's the one who signed the deal. He's the one who didn't have time to deal with North Korea, China, Russia, the ABM Treaty, Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11, and a host of other things on his agenda. And so he sold out Cuba, as every president has since Castro took over, for domestic interests, as Flint pointed out, and for power interests, that is to say, staying in power. Money interests, that is to say, getting the money into their political action committees from Dade County and other Cuban Americans in this country. So that's what's driven Cuba policy, but more than anything else, I think it's just not on anybody's priority list. How do you get it there? How do you make Senator Obama, who is probably the more receptive to this issue, or Senator McCain, understand that this is an issue that should be dealt with? I think it's all in what Flint said, in what Dimitri said, and what Julia said, though I'd be a little more aggressive than just trying to roll back the travel restrictions, and that is that we need, for the first time since FDR and his good neighbor policy, a substantive, real-life, actionable policy towards Latin America, or towards the Western Hemisphere, because our Canadian friends think we're nuts too. And the best way to lead that policy is a complete and thoroughgoing rapprochement with Cuba.